you can't move, visuals. You can't move. Because if we move, we'll lose HP from being poisoned. Imagine, hello, visuals. Pokemon Thursday. Then we talk about Ghostbusters. Who you going to call? Ash Ketchum. I'm an adult virgin. Visuals in this Pokemon Thursday. Remember back in the day when you were, especially when you first get the Pokemon game. I remember being young. Even though in my head I'm still young, just my body's like 80. And I remember playing this Pokemon game because we're doing our favourite Pokemon list. We're carrying on with poison types. There's a reason why I'm telling this story. What a fucking idiot. The early days of playing Pokemon and you'd be poisoned and you'd be like, oh shit, you're fainted, you're fainted, you're fainted. You got 7 HP left and you're poisoned. And we're in the middle of, I don't fucking know, Mount Moon or wherever it is we were. And like, oh shit. When was the last time I saved? Oh shit. I probably didn't say, oh, shit, but I remember thinking, what the hell do I do? Because every time you move, oh, shit, we're going to die. Oh, we're going to die. And then you'd fade out and you'd go back. You're like, ah, no, everybody's dead. Because I was very bad at looking after my Pokemon in the early days. They very, very rarely ever got healed. And my starter was always at the front. And, like, you'd have, like, I don't know, a level fucking 40 Venusaur. The next up would be, like, a level 22 Pidgeotto. I was so bad. I'm glad that though I stuck with the franchise. The franchise is a huge part of my life, and that's not how I play the games anymore. That was young Dan. If I see that young Dan ever, I'll fucking people's elbow in. Visuals, like I said at the start, a minute ago, we are carrying on with our favourite Pokemon of every type. Last week we did Dragon type, and this week we're going to do Poison, and I think that only leaves Ghosts. I keep saying this every week going, I think we've got these left, and I still to this day haven't had a count or a check of what we actually do have left. I will do it soon enough. I will do it one day. Leave me alone. Get out of my room, Mum! You're not my dad! I'll get to it. Ah, that copy's beautiful and hot. But yes, visuals, we are going to do Poison types this week, and please let me know in the comments below. James, I know you're watching, you little pokey boy. I don't know what I was going to call you there. Pokey boy. Dolphin finding, no, not dolphin, what did you find? Mermaid seeing Pokeboy. Just a bit of context if anybody, you know, doesn't understand the canon, the lore of this channel. We have a regular viewer, a regular visual that once told me he saw a mermaid, so he's a mermaid seeing Pokeboy, and he loves Pokemon. He always hits me up with some cool Pokemon knowledge, and I'm like, my guy. Please let me know your favourite poison type Pokemon in the comments below, visuals. I didn't realise how many poison types there is that I actually really enjoy and love. But there actually is quite a few. We've got a lot of clumps as well. Like a lot of spots don't go to just one Pokemon, they go to groups. I'm sorry, I can't help it. But visuals, here we go. My 10 favourite... Start again. Take 1. My favourite poison type Pokemon of all time. Here we go. Number 10, it's Poipole / Naganador. I absolutely adore these. Why? Because I say this all the time in videos, right, visuals? I love the way some Pokemon names flow. Poipole, Naganador. They are 2 amazing names. But it's not just that, visuals. It's how much I fell in love with them because of Ash. Ash got a championship whilst using Naganador. Ash become champion. And he had this little sickly looking, buggy sort of looking, bee looking, weird looking, purpley looking motherfucker. How many times did I say looking? But I fell in love with it a bit more because I didn't like the Ultra Beasts when they first were introduced. I liked the idea and the concept behind them, but I hated, like, what are these weird Yu-Gi-Oh card looking things doing in the world of Pokemon? But the more that this story unfolded and watched through the anime, I did fall in love with him a bit more. And because Ash obviously interacted and had a Poipole and stuff, I fell in love with it a hell of a lot more. So Poipole, Naganador are kicking off our poison list. Number 9 is Toxtricity, who will forever be a legend in Dan's Hall of Fame because you're automatically a legend when you're on my first ever playthroughs of games. And I had a Toxtricity on my first ever Sword and Shield run through, and I love Toxtricity. I love the concept behind it, I love the design, I love this whole punk rockery. We're in a British sort of region, and I think the design for however you want your yellow boy, your blue boy, it doesn't matter. I think they look great. It's a little bit gross that their organs that they chuck out on their chest, it's a little bit like, what is it, your intestines, but they just look great and they work great. The type combo of electricity and poison is so much fun. They look badass, they look stoned and dopey and like, dude, what, fuck the anti-establishment, you know, fuck the government. I get that vibe off it and it makes us giggle, and I love Toxtricity so much. It is, you probably can't see it, it's up there, it's a little Victory Bell. I even said when I did the dragon, whichever video it was, and I was like, I know a lot of the poison types that are already going to be on this list. But Victory Bell is such an OG Pokemon. Victory Bell is one of my favourite Pokemon. I love Victory Bell. Yes, the grass typing gives it a massive point for me because I love grass types. But interacting with Victory Bell on plenty of different teams, I fell in love with it. Seeing James's Victory Bell, kept trying to eat him and whatnot, fell in love with it. I think it's a great design Pokemon. It is, say it with its visuals, it is a Pokemon-y Pokemon, meaning it just looks like, you look at it and go, that belongs in the Pokemon mold. It fits the mold. It looks like a real designed Pokemon, not some of these other Pokemon that I look at and think, I don't think you belong. But it's so cool. Victory Bell's an amazing name. It is a legend at this point. Victory Bell is on the list. Another pair of legends, but it's Venonat and Venomoth. I couldn't separate the two. I didn't include Venomoth in my bug type list, but I maybe should have done. Now I'm looking back at it because I definitely love Venonat. I really enjoy Venonat. I just think it looks amazing. I think it's so fun the way that the thing is. I love the shiny version. I've had Venonats on plenty of different playthroughs. Great name. Pokemon-y Pokemon feel. Like I said, OG at this point. It's a legend in his own right at this point. But then I look at Venomoth and think, why didn't I add you to my bug list alongside Venonat as well? Because there was loads of moments because like I said, I always preferred Venonat to Venomoth. But then I'm looking at this list going for our poison types going, I actually really like you. Maybe it's because I like it more in the poison aspect. I don't know why. But I felt like I had to include it alongside of its pre-evolution inside of this list. Venonat, we've talked about before in our bug list done. But Venomoth, it's such a cool design. It's such a great Pokemon. It, again, derpy. The cool fan theory behind it about, you know, Venonat should really evolve into Butterfree and, you know, Metapod should have went into Venomoth and all that kind of stuff. So it's always got a fun story behind it. The OG cards as well were also really cool. That always gives another point. When the first time I see it on a card, I love the old Venonat and Venomoth cards, TCG cards. And I think it's a cool Pokemon. A couple of months back, I did a run of Let's Go Pikachu and I had a Venomoth on the team and I liked it when it follows behind it. So I thought, I really do like you. You're quite cool. So Venomoth and Venonat. Muck and Alolan Muck. When you say poison type, can you even think of another Pokemon as opposed to the literal embodiments of poison? Just big piles of goo. If I had to pick between the two, I prefer regular Muck to Alolan Muck, but I really enjoy them both. I absolutely adore both Mucks. Alolan Muck's great, the crazy colour scheme shenanigans, the dark type, and the fact that it eats all this different trash. That's why it's going through its little motions of the yellows and the purples and what going through. But regular old Muck, our normal, just straight up poison bad boy. Again, beautiful card. I remember sat on the card with the orange waves in the background and whatnot. Ash's Muck. Ash's Muck was beautiful. The way that it tried to eat him multiple times, the way that it took out the Bellsprout and stuff. It was so fun and so awesome and so unique. And at the time as well, I always associated it, I guess, with like bad, you know, Team Rocket or, you know, the bike guys on Thingy Road. Be like, you're poison types, you're bad poison types and shit like that. Going up against Koga's Muck and stuff. But I have a real solid appreciation for Muck. I think Muck's one of the most iconic Pokemon ever. I could be wrong on that, but like I said, when I think of poison types, my mind kind of goes straight to him pretty much. If it wasn't for certain Pokemon on this list, he would definitely be number one, but there's a few more Pokemon that I just absolutely adore. But Muck, the embodiment of the poison type. 5, Beedrill. Yes, I got to include Beedrill. Again, I didn't add him in my bug type listing because there's a lot of bugs out there that I really did enjoy. But Beedrill, what an OG, what a beast, what an awesome concept, what a great Mega Evolution, what a fun Pokemon. Always, you know, seen as the counterpart to Butterfree, you know, the Caterpie, Weedle, Kakuna, Metapod, Beedrill, Butterfree, always the counterpart. Get it in an early stage. Again, multiple playthroughs I had Beedrill, especially on my early team going through, like, oh, Weedle, Kakuna, oh, I've got this little Beedrill, evolves nice and early. Relatively decent, relatively decent early Pokemon. Not late game. It's get wrecked, son. And a lot more people using it as well in the Pokemon Go Battle League teams and whatnot. But it's a cool concept, cool design. It's Beedrill. He's a badass. I love me some bees. 4 goes to all of the Ghastly line. How can I not include the Ghastly line? Yes, I probably do love them more because of the ghost aspect, they will 100% be up there in my ghost list. But the fact that, you know, they come with the poison type in, I had to include them. And I love the whole line as a whole. I had to, and Gengar is, I've said this probably all the time, Gengar is one of the Pokemon that I do have tattooed. But the whole line is just so phenomenal. The big gas ball, the big stupid, I've got two hands here, look at me with my big tongue, and then the big silly, big chunky, have fun with it, Gengar boy. These are some of the most, definitely, I don't think it's up for date, some of the most iconic Pokemon. Everybody out there knows and loves Gengar. And in fact, I'm going to do it, last week we did an FFL on Gengar, didn't we? And loads of people out there love Gengar. Gengar is one of the most adored Pokemon of all time. Cool stories amongst each other. Great origins. Fantastic. Gengar, one of the first Pokemon you see when you boot up the original Pokemon games. Even Agatha's, you know, my last Pokemon, Gengar. The way she says it, it's just phenomenal and beautiful. Like I said, design-wise, they smashed everything. Shiny-wise, a little bit odd because you're like, okay, which one's a shiny Gengar? You kind of look similar. Ash eventually getting a Gengar in his last ever run in the anime, which just, it cemented it even more. It kind of felt right. I didn't realise at the time, but now when I look back on it, I kind of felt right that he had a Gengar just because of how iconic he is. The way that Ash went and got the Haunted to take on Sabrina in the early days of the anime and stuff. The whole Gassy line, Gassy, Haunter, and Gengar. Mwah. Grafify. I've pronounced him for Grafify. I don't know to this day if I've been pronouncing it wrong, but since he come out, I've been pronouncing him Grafify. Our little graffiti painty boy. I fell in love with this little bastard so early. Yes, he's one of the newest Pokemon introduced into Generation 9 in the Paldea region. This little fucking... What is he, like a skunk? Not skunk, but he's like a little, I don't know, it's like a little rodent-y thing. But I fell in love with him. I love the colour scheme. On my first ever playthrough of the Scarlet and Violet games, I had to include him straight away. I love it. Normal poison typing. I'm not too bothered about the normal typing. The little video we've got of him, you know, leaving his little trademark. It's kind of like spray painted, but not spray painted because he's actually using the paint. He's got these big middle fucking like a fucking paint and whatnot. He just looks amazing. He looks adorable. If these Pokemon were real, I truly think I would go out there and have one of these on my team. He may be in my top 10 of all time now. I'm going to have to redo a top 10 list at some point. Grafify is so adorable. He looks amazing. For me, again, we'll say it together, Pokemon-y Pokemon feel. I think they nailed it. In the Paldea region, they did a lot of designs where I'm like, ugh. But the ones they got right, they got so beautifully, stupidly, perfectly right, and he is one of them. He's, for me, one of the best designed Pokemon ever, one of the best looking Pokemon ever. I just think he's so great, and I can't wait to get him added at some point on the Pokemon leg. Number 2 is the Nido family. How can I not include the Nido family? Some of the most iconic Pokemon of all time, some of the greatest Pokemon of all time. You can get them nice and early on and go through. You can have a Nidoking or Nidoqueen by the time you get into Mount Moon. Yes, I probably love Nidoking and Nidoqueen more for the ground typing, but when you talk about a poison type list, I'm like, I can't not add these in, and I love these. These are S tier in terms of Pokemon-y Pokemon feel. I love everything about these. The old TCG cards were phenomenal. The involvement in many different teams. Well, more so Nidoking, but Nidoqueen as well. Involved in many different teams. Used in my own personal teams countless. I've been counting points right visuals. I've done the same figure every time. The designs are so phenomenal. Except being used in Giovanni's team. Gary, you know, is someone else with his like Nidoking and stuff. Nidoking just being so amazingly designed to the point where I don't know if it's in the Obsidian Flame set that's coming out or the I think it's Obsidian Flame set. We're going to have that Nidoking artwork card, and it just looks so tremendous. Oh, the way I see him stomping around and they're wild and stuff like that. Oh, I love the Nido family, or as I always used to call them, the true and only royal family. It's still weird that they can't breed and mate Nidoking and Nidoqueen though, but I love them. Number 1, could it be anybody else? Could you have guessed anybody else for me? Because we know that I love this line so much. It's the Bulbasaur line. Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. Not only my favourite grass types, not only my favourite poison types, my favourite Pokemon, my favourite line. My favourite Pokemon is Pidgeotto, but Bulbasaur, Venusaur, Ivysaur are in my top 3. I guess more so Bulbasaur and maybe Venusaur. You always overlook the middles. I don't know why, because Ivysaur is very iconic and legendary in his own right. My first ever starter, Bulbasaur. I don't think I need to harper on too much about this. Long-term viewers of the channel know how much I adore. Again, being the first Pokemon I got tattooed on my Pokemon leg. I love Bulbasaur with my entire heart. He is everything Pokemon to me. It's the whole line, Ivysaur and Venusaur. Countless times playing the games going, let's go for a different starter. Okay, we've got Bulbasaur. Next time we do a new game, definitely a different starter. Okay, like this is my most recent run through of Let's Go Pikachu. Like, let's go for Squirtle. I'm feeling Squirtle. We're in Verdant Forest. We're going to catch combo of 10 Caterpies. There's a Bulbasaur. Okay, we'll have a Bulbasaur on the team. I just love it so fucking much, and I don't think I need to harp on about this whole entire line anymore. We got visuals. That is our poison types now done and dusted. I think it's just Ghost left. I really will have a look. I promise you. If I make this promise, I'll have to do it now, but I promise we'll have a look. And next time we come to do the Ghost type videos, I'll have a definitive answer of what we've got left. Please, visuals, let me know your favourite poison type Pokemon in the comments below, and just let me know anything you want to let me know about my stupid face or our stupid, lovely little channel we got going on, or whatever. And remember, subscribe and share this video with your nan. I'm sure she's so curious to find out what my favourite poison type Pokemon are of all time. I kind of feel like I've got a poisony vibe going on here. I know it's blue and green with this old OG retro Newcastle shirt, but I don't know, I feel like a poison vibe coming off this. Or maybe grass water. Maybe I'm Ludicolo. Ludicolo's got no blue in him though, really. Or is his eyes blue? Can't remember now. Visuals, my favourite poison type Pokemon. Thank you for watching. You guys are literally the best. I don't know what the fuck this is, and remember, keep being you and keep on keeping out.